Okay, I want to get off into another topic. Women, you know, far as knowing how to respect a man, and women who do not respect men, do not understand the office that a man holds. A man is just not a person. He is a man. We are leaders in this country. We are the heads. We should be treated with an amount of respect. And it's not based on how you feel or if he's performing to your standards as a man. Any man and every man deserves to be respected in this country, in your city, in your town. I really...
And you say that because?
Well, there are a few stories that come out in the news every so often.
Like what?
Like the Ethan Colbert situation that just transpired a few months ago, where the girlfriend is putting her hands on him.
Where he was definitely being foul and disrespectful, and speaking to other women while he was there with his own woman.
But again, like I say, no matter how you feel, if he's acting to your expectation as a man, or how you feel as far as you may be teed off, you may be mad. He's talking to other girls at a Grand Prix roller rink or whatever.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's reset the story a little bit so everyone's
the guy Ethan Colbert, he has a girlfriend, Letitia Woodson, I believe her name is, in South Carolina. They are boyfriend and girlfriend. They had a baby already. She had a baby by another guy who was already locked up. Okay, they go to a Grand Prix strip, go-karts, roller rinks, skates. And he's there, he's talking to some girls. She doesn't like it. They leave, they get in the car, they're on the highway. And he says she starts pushing him in the head, questioning him, his motives about talking to these girls. A scuffle breaks out. She pulls out of the highway on the side of the shoulder. She tells him to get out the car. He gets out the car. She pulls him back in, and they start scuffling.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. This is all allegedly. His story and her story, and then there's the true story.
5 witnesses.
But as the story goes, and as I'm telling it, it sounds familiar. The guy pulls the girl out of the car, slams her to the ground, and starts beating her.
Oh, wow, but we're supposed to respect him. Okay.
And let me put it like this, though. Okay, that to me, that's not a man. When you speak of a man is going to hold itself to the same respect that he deserves and wants from another woman.
Absolutely.
The Bible speaks on that. He's thinking and acting as a child would. Right. There's no
so you
reason.
Treat him like a child.
Exactly. There's no reason for a man to act like
21
that.
years old. Very young.
There's no reason for a man to act like that. If my son or if my son, cousins or any acted the way that he did, I would be embarrassed for him. You're not. Don't call yourself a man acting like that.
Okay, I got to get in here. First of all, let's not talk about him. Ethan is the 21-year-old guy's name. Well, let's not talk. Loser, garbage. You're done. Essentially, your life stopped when that happened. Now, what I will say, I think from the beginning, this topic was brought up improperly. It should be about the son. I think this segment really should be about the kid's name, Jaleel Clements.
Right.
A hero is how I think we should have even started talking about this.
Right.
Because that's certainly, domestic violence, it's tragic. Yeah. But heroes are born out of unprecedented tragedies, and he certainly is a hero for what he tried to save his mom.
Definitely.
But
Initially he did.
I counter that because, and I'm not disagreeing with him not being a hero. I definitely feel that he was put in a precarious position that definitely forced him to, in a sense, you robbed him of that childhood infancy stage. You took him out of this category just to be a child, and then you forced him to kick into manhood, which naturally, from what I've learned from men, they are protectors, they are overseers, they like to protect and to provide. So naturally, you forced him to step into the role of a man. He has to now be be a man to his mother because his mother has made poor choices. So the root of it is that we have a woman that has made poor choices, and therefore it has cost her son's life. That's the underground
And that's
issue,
something she has to live with.
Absolutely.
And he tried to save her more than once, because when things were not so bad, he actually told his mom that he didn't like Ethan staying at the house.
And I think it's good that you said that too, because what I would want to say in any situation on either side is I want all the information, the background, the history of everyone involved, really, in order to formulate even an opinion, because, far be it me to get factual information, which I also think is an issue in lots of things. You can't really argue facts. And
because she was saying that they had gotten to a scuffle once before, and both of them was pushed, and she said she blacked out. But the little boy said, "Mommy, I don't want him staying here. I can be the man of the house." She didn't. She didn't listen. She should have listened. There are a lot of women out here who choose men over their kids. She didn't listen. He stayed, and Jaleel, he gets out the car, witnessing his mother getting beat, trying to get help, and he gets ran over. It's just so sad that had to happen because two immature people that shouldn't have been having children in the first place.
But just to go back to what you originally stated, so women disrespecting men.
Right.
And in this scenario, you guys agree that the woman was out of order. She did not handle herself appropriately. Did she not conduct herself as a lady? Did she disrespect herself before she disrespected the man?
Good
I'd
point.
like to
Good
answer
point.
your question with a question, which is, I take everything back to kindergarten. I ask, do we hit? I ask to the boy kids, do we hit girls?
Absolutely.
I mean, really,
Absolutely.
everything we need to know, essentially, we learned in kindergarten,
Right.
if you want to boil it down.
But it seems like most cases, when a man puts his hands on a woman, it is because she put her hands on him first, or degraded or disrespected him. It doesn't make it right. He's wrong.
We
Men
have
are wrong.
we have
We should never
men
put
that are
men-
just abusive in their nature. They were
Right.
taught to naturally hit. They were taught that at any time you feel that you've been demised, at any time you feel that you've been degraded, at any time you feel that you've been disrespected, you have the right and you have authority to take physical attack against whoever, whatever is in front of you, you feel threatened by, intimidated by, disrespected by. So at any given time, anytime you have a man that puts his hands on it doesn't necessarily mean that a woman was the driving force behind that. We have to, I have to definitely counter for my women and say there are men that are just abusive people, that they are just, they grew up whether in an abusive family household. They reenact. It was learned behavior. They reenact what they've been taught all their life, and then you have them that they beat themselves up before they even actually beat the next person. Right. So if all a man knows at the end of the day is abuse and how to be abusive, like that is not on her. When she finds him and she meets with him, that she cannot take responsibility for that. At some point in time, a man has to take responsibility for that.
Yeah, and how much responsibility does he bear? That is certainly the question.
Honestly, the man, to me, holds all the responsibility.
Yeah. She's culpable too.
Right, but
I
mean, in general, if we're talking about how a man should conduct himself, and I keep referencing the Bible because then that's where I go to it.
Absolutely.
God didn't yell at Eve for taking the apple. He yelled at Adam for it. He asked Adam about this because at the beginning of time he put the man head of household, point blank, period.
That's it.
And I think somewhere in society we've lost track of that as men and as women. When I say it as men, because we treat ourselves and we act like we should be treated like kids. We give the woman the opportunity to be the breadwinner and all this, all this, and take care of the house. And it sickens me when I hear a woman, I'm independent, I don't need a man. You do need a man. Yeah. I don't want to hear that you don't need a man. You need a man.
As the father of a daughter, I will teach her and have taught her already. She's very young.
Right.
That she does not need to be dependent on anyone but herself and her daddy.
And I say not, which is a man.
A man.
Which is a man.
It's the royal me with
And
my
when
wife.
she gets grown, it transitions from you to
Another man.
Right.
Uh,
But if they didn't, you know what I would do? I would love her even more.
Right, but again, she
She does not need to rely on
built,
being dependent
not,
on anyone.
Exactly.
I
We're
think that's
built
a
to coexist.
distinguished line.
Right.
I think.
what do you mean when you say independent? That's the
When
thing.
I hear a woman saying, I don't need a man, it's when you downgrade the man. Like if we're doing all we
That's
can.
like, I
going
don't
to
need
find-
anyone.
Right,
Right,
exactly. But I don't need him. I don't need him to do this. I don't. Okay, but give us an opportunity to do that. Because when you talk to a man and tell him you don't need him, what am I here for? That's when
Yeah,
you
that's-
step out and do this, because that's what a man needs to be wanted. That's one of our signs. We need to be wanted. We need to be. We have to show some signs of achievement. When a woman tells us, "Oh, you're doing good, baby," we feel, your chest get out and everything. You proud that she needs me. You know what I'm saying?
But I would assume in that scenario that y'all are together, right?
I mean, I think it's in general. But together, I would see when we're together or whatever. I would definitely say that it's more applicable.
Even
then.
more,
Yeah,
right.
definitely. But I feel that in general, a man needs to be needed, and when you don't, that's when you lash out and do.
Yeah, because and then women, you're already going into a relationship with the mind frame and the mindset that I don't really need you. So how can you really respect him? And when you disrespect a man, either two things are going to happen. He's going to lash out, or he's going to act like a man that he is, and he's going to control himself and refrain from doing anything. You're going to get either one of the two. I'm talking about the cases where the women don't respect the man, and they do put their hands on him.
Let me interject here for a bit. Let me say this, and I really hope that all the women that see this and watch this really hear my heart on this, and that is that you were created for a woman to say that you do not need a man. It is the most foolish thing that I have ever in my entire life heard. And I'm speaking from a woman that I am very independent. I am very strong, and I can definitely operate absolutely fine individually in my strengths. I don't need to rely on a man to be a better person or a better woman. However, I do need a man. The reason I need a man is because I'll kind of piggyback off of Chris, what he said, and the basics is my foundation, and it's my personal belief. My personal belief says that Eve was created out of Adam's rib, which further lets me know that God seen Eve such as a delicacy that he took the most delicate part out of a man. He put him in a deep sleep, if I'm not mistaken, and he caused him to go into a sleep. In that sleep, he operated, per se, if we want to paraphrase here. He went into his rib, pulled out the most thing. What does the rib do? It protects the most vital organs of the body. That woman came out of that man. Therefore, that woman was there to serve that man. And how do you serve that man? God said, it is not good for man to be alone. I will send him a helpmate.
Right.
Personally, I don't know that everyone is meant to be married.
Okay, that's true.
Now, also, I think the Bible speaks on that as well. And I that works for you. And this kind of talks back to our political conversation a little bit. That's what works. You said your religious foundation.
Right.
That's what works for you. But we have to be inclusive for everyone else who don't necessarily hold those beliefs true. That doesn't make them wrong, is all I'm really trying
But I would
to
say then treat others how you want to be treated. Take it to the
There
golden
you go,
rule.
kindergarten.
You know what I mean? Exactly. Like you said, take it to the golden rule.
Well, then you have to get some truth from
Everyone's
somewhere
foundation-
on how to be a woman and how to respect a man.